अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाह। कैसे हैं आप सब? अल्लाह ताला आप सबको खुश रखे, अपना हिफ्ज़ व अमान में रखे। आमीन।
Today we're exploring something, well, truly surprising and pretty delightful in the kitchen.
Yeah, it really is.
We're diving into the fascinating world of homemade Tutti Frutti. But maybe not the way you'd first think.
Definitely not.
Our source material is this great step-by-step guide, focuses on making this really vibrant confection from an ingredient you'd frankly probably just throw away.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to help you quickly get your head around not just how to make it, but also the clever science and the simple art behind turning waste into something special.
And it's amazing how straightforward the process actually is, considering the result. It really transforms this unexpected ingredient into something colorful and chewy, a great bit of kitchen resourcefulness.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The magic, it seems, starts not with the sweet, red, juicy part of the watermelon we all love.
No, forget that for now.
Yeah. But with something most of us just toss out. Our guide says this whole thing kicks off with the white part of the watermelon peel, the rind.
That's the one. And getting it ready is the first really crucial step. So you take your watermelon, obviously scoop out all the red stuff.
Right.
Then you've got to carefully peel off that tough green outer skin.
Okay.
The aim is to isolate just that thick white section, that's the rind. And importantly, you need to chop only that white part into very small cubes, tiny ones.
Very small, uniform cubes, you said.
Yeah.
Why is that so specific? Like, what difference does the size consistency make there?
Good question. That precision, it's really key. Keeping the cubes the same small size means they all cook at the same rate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they absorb that sugary syrup evenly later on. If you have, big ones and little ones, the small ones might get mushy while the big ones are still kind of hard. You'd end up with a really uneven texture.
Gotcha. So consistency is crucial for that final chewiness.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've got your tiny rind cubes. Now, before adding any sugar or anything sweet, the guide says there's this other step, a quick blanching. Seems a bit odd.
It does seem a bit strange at first, yeah, but it's important. You boil about 2 cups of water.
Okay.
Once it's boiling, you just tip in those chopped rinds. Boil them for just 3 to 4 minutes. You want them slightly soft.
Slightly soft.
Yes, and the source guide is very clear. Do not overcook them at this stage.
Right. So why do that? What's the blanching actually doing?
Well, it serves a couple of purposes. Firstly, yes, it tenderizes the rind a bit, makes it less tough, but without turning it into mush.
Okay.
But maybe more importantly, that quick burst of heat helps break down the cell structure of the rind just enough to make it much better at soaking up all that lovely syrup you're about to make. It kind of opens it up, ready for the sugar.
Clever. So it preps it for the sweetening.
Exactly. Then you move on to the syrup in a different pan this time.
Right.
The ratio is simple. 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water.
Equal parts.
Yep. You cook that, stirring until the sugar's completely dissolved and the syrup thickens just slightly. You're aiming for what's called a one-string consistency.
One-string consistency. What does that actually mean, practically?
It just means it's slightly sticky. If you were to cool a drop and rub it between your thumb and forefinger, it would feel, tacky, maybe form a very short thread when you pull your fingers apart.
Okay, so just slightly thickened and sticky.
Precisely. It's not just about making it sweet. This consistency ensures the final Tutti Frutti has that nice chewiness, not sogginess, and it helps preserve it too.
Now, here's a detail in the syrup recipe I found interesting. The guide specifically says to add lemon juice. Why lemon juice in something so sweet?
Ah, yes. That's not just for flavor, though it might add a tiny bit of brightness. It's actually a brilliant bit of kitchen chemistry.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, the acid in the lemon juice, it helps to invert the sugar. Basically, it breaks down some of the sucrose into simpler sugars like glucose and fructose.
And why is that good?
Because those simpler sugars are much less likely to crystallize as the syrup cools or sits.
So it stops the Tutti Frutti getting all grainy and sugary later on?
Exactly. It keeps the syrup smooth and helps the final product stay nicely translucent and, pliable rather than hard and crystalline. It's a simple trick, but very effective.
That is clever. Okay, so we've got our blanched, ready-to-absorb rind cubes.
Yep.
And our perfectly balanced, non-crystallizing syrup. Now we bring them together.
Now you bring them together. The blanched rind cubes go straight into that warm syrup.
No.
And you cook them together gently on a low to medium heat for about 8 to 10 minutes.
And what are we looking for here? How do you know when they're done?
The visual cue is the key. The pieces of rind will start to become translucent.
Translucent, like see-through.
Pretty much, yeah. They take on this sort of glassy, see-through appearance that tells you they've properly soaked up the syrup right through. It's actually quite cool to watch that transformation happen.
I bet. And the guide mentions, optionally, adding vanilla essence at the end.
Yeah, right after you turn off the heat. It's optional, but it adds a nice, familiar sweet fragrance and flavor. Just stir it in gently.
Okay, so now they're cooked, syrupy, translucent, but not yet colorful. That's the next big step, right? Getting that classic Tutti Frutti look.
That's right. This is where you give it its signature, vibrant personality. So once the cooking's done, you carefully divide the syrupy rind pieces into, say, 3 or 4 separate bowls.
Okay, depends how many colors you want.
Exactly. And then into each bowl, you add a few drops of a different liquid food color.
Just a few drops.
Yep, a little usually goes a long way. Mix it well in each bowl, making sure all the pieces get coated.
And then you just leave them.
You leave them, and this part needs patience. You need to let them soak in that colored syrup for at least 4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours.
Or even better, overnight. This long soak is really important because it gives the color time to penetrate deep into the rind and really set properly. That's how you get those lovely, deep, vibrant colors all the way through, not just on the surface.
Right, so no rushing the coloring stage. Let it soak.
Let it soak.
Okay, so after their long color bath, they must be pretty saturated. What's the final step? Drying them out?
Exactly. The drying stage is what gives them that final chewy texture we associate with Tutti Frutti. First, you need to get rid of the excess syrup. So you drain each colored batch using a fine mesh strainer.
Okay, drain them well.
Then you spread the colored cubes out in a single layer on a large plate or maybe a baking tray lined with parchment paper. Give them space, don't pile them up.
Makes sense. And how long do they need to dry?
They need about 6 to 8 hours at room temperature, or if you want to speed it up a bit, you could place them under a gently blowing fan.
6 to 8 hours. Okay. Any tips for the drying?
Yes, one important note from the source: avoid drying them in direct sunlight.
Oh, what's that?
Strong sunlight can actually cause those beautiful, bright food colors to fade, so keep them somewhere airy, but out of direct sun to maintain the vibrancy.
Good tip. Okay, so after 6 to 8 hours, they should be dry to the touch and chewy.
They should be nicely dried, a little bit tacky perhaps, but not wet. Then they're ready for storage.
And how do you store them? How long do they last?
Once they're fully cool and dry, just pop them into an airtight container.
Simple enough.
Yeah, and they last quite well. The guide says about 1 month stored at room temperature is fine.
A whole month? That's pretty good.
Or if you keep that airtight container in the fridge, they can last even longer, maybe up to 3 months.
Wow, 3 months in the fridge. That's impressive for something homemade from, well, watermelon peel. It really is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking about taking that part of the watermelon, the rind that most people just throw in the bin,
Yeah, straight in the compost usually.
and turning it step by step into these colorful, sweet, chewy little jewels. It's proper kitchen alchemy.
It really is. And this whole process, this deep dive, it highlights some really neat points, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Like the need for that precise cutting at the start for even texture, the cleverness of the blanching step to prepare the rind.
Yeah, the absorption thing.
Right. And that bit of science with the sugar syrup, especially using the lemon juice to stop it crystallizing, that's a great takeaway.
Totally. That was a real aha moment.
And finally, the patience you need for the coloring and the drying to get it just right.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many other things we consider waste in the kitchen could actually be turned into something delicious or useful with a bit of know-how?
That's such a good point. A
Yeah.
really provocative thought. Maybe you listening could even take this further. Perhaps experiment with different flavor essences. Like instead of vanilla, maybe almond or rose.
Ooh, yeah, that could be interesting.
Or even explore using other kinds of fruit rinds. Could you do this with, I don't know, citrus peel maybe? Though that might be a different process.
Worth looking into. Definitely spark some ideas.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this really quite fascinating deep dive into the world of homemade Tutti Frutti and watermelon rind.